What's up, Lost Boys? Here we are, another fantasy recap video. This week we're going to be talking about week 7, what happened, some pretty awesome games. Our standings still stay crazy close, and we'll take a quick look at week 8. But more importantly, guys, you know what today is? NBA is back. I know you guys are all pretty pumped, so just wanted to give a quick shout out to the NBA and the GOAT, LeBron. So let's get into these games. We're going to start with Cass versus Jace. This was by far our best matchup of the week. And Cass put up a lot of points, 161 points. Jace did really well, put up 144. Cass takes the dub. Got some big games from unexpected guys. I definitely thought Jace was going to roll this week. Cass had some guys on bye. He picked up some other players. And they all did really well from Gus Edwards, maybe a starter for Cass going forward, got him over 20. Darren Waller finally did pretty good, got him about 20 at the tight end spot. It's honestly helping him a lot having an actual NFL quarterback in Tyrod Taylor in there instead of Daniel Idiot Eli Manning 2.0 Jones in there. So that's really helping Cass. Kendrick Bourne ended up getting a touchdown, which is rare because the Patriots never score. And of course, Cass got 21 from his boy, Christian McCaffrey, who has scored in, I think, 16 or 17 straight games, which is an NFL record. So he's pretty much guaranteed a touchdown every single week. Speaking of TDs, Cass also got a TD from Rashee Rice. So Cass, with a lot of guys on bye, ends up getting a huge victory against Jace. He didn't have anyone go off, but everyone seemed to play really, really well. I mean, he only got 10 points from Herbert and 15 points from Love. He still got the dub. Jace on the flip side kind of had he had a good week. I mean, he scored 144 points, which I think was like the fifth most in the week. Hurts did pretty well for him. Josh Dobbs starting in place got him 16 points instead of Dak. Kamara ends up catching 900,000 balls. He doesn't really get a ton of yards or touchdowns, but he's catching about 9 to 10 balls a game, which is great points. Goddard ended up getting him a touchdown. Jerome Ford, it's like a 70-yard touchdown, but that's pretty much all he got. He got hurt. He's going to be out for 1 to 2 weeks. Diggs ended up having a crazy touchdown. So Jace's team performed well. It just wasn't enough to take down Cass. Cass gets a monster victory this week against our first place guy. Cass goes to 4-3. Jace falls to 5-2, but Jace is still sitting in first place. Next game we're going to talk about is Josh versus Matt. This was a battle of the second place team versus the fourth place team going into the week. Josh ends up taking down Matt pretty easily, 147 to 120. Matt kind of had a weird game this week. First, he was forced to start Gardner Minshew Sunday morning because they ruled out Daniel Jones. Well, what happened? Gardner Minshew went against the Cleveland Browns, elite vaulted defense, scored 27 points. And then Sam Howell, who was going against terrible Giants D, ended up getting him 9 points, no touchdowns at all. But the craziest thing is Bijan. Bijan Robinson had a great matchup this week, and 3 yards. 3 yards. They said he had headaches or he was sick, but it was really, really weird. So he didn't do anything for Matt. Basically a 0 in the spot. Mike Evans started out good for him. He got him a touchdown, 17 points from there. Puka caught 9,000 balls and got him 19 points. The Chiefs held Keenan Allen down. Since we're watching every Chiefs game, it's honestly like the Chiefs are a team you don't want to play your fantasy studs against. I hate to say it, they shut Justin Jefferson down. They shut Keenan Allen down. They basically have shut down every single person. They shut down all the Jaguars guys. They actually did really well against the Detroit guys week 1. So like the Chiefs defense is that good. Their CBs are so good. They're shutting down top tier wide receivers. So they look legit. Maybe think twice about starting your guys against the Chiefs going forward. Josh, on the other hand, finally had a coming out game for Gibbs. Got him 23 points. James Cook got in the end zone, got 17 points. Amon-Ra caught 1,000,000 balls. That Detroit game was really weird. I mean, they got smoked by Baltimore. They were behind 28-0 in the second quarter. It looked like Detroit was at least going to get some garbage time points. Nope. Goff, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, 9 points. So Detroit did get some yards from their guys, which helped Josh, but it was just a terrible game. Other than that, Josh's defense took a dump against Monday night. Kirk Cousins, but it was nothing crazy. No guys that went off this game. He just got a lot of teens, pulled the Tim, got a lot of teens, and got the victory, 147-120. Next game, Tim. Speaking of Tim versus Pat. This game was really good, and it could have been really closer in the Sunday night and the Monday night game, but Pat still ended up winning by almost 20 points. And Pat got monster game from Foreman today. He started him for his boys, especially with Herbert out and Roshan out. So he reaches last second, grabs Foreman, and he scores him 31 points. Like, are you serious? Pat got a great start to the day, to the week Thursday night. He had ETN do well. He had Christian Kirk do well. He had Trevor Lawrence do well. So Tim was kind of underdog going into Sunday. Pat then got his normal 20 from Tyreek, who does dirty every single week. But Pat's kicker got him 0, which was brutal. Gave Tim a chance to come back. And Tim's team, I mean, his team's really good. I really like Tim's team. A.J. Brown is escalating himself to maybe wide receiver 1 in fantasy. I mean, he's had like 25 fantasy points for 5 weeks in a row right now, which is crazy. Tim got almost 30 points, pretty much 30 points from Kelsey, and that's the punch to the stomach. You almost can never lose your fantasy game when you get 30 points from anyone, but let alone your tight end. To get 30 points from your tight end and still lose, that's the brutal situation for Tim. His quarterbacks let him down. Tua, 10 points. We saw Brock Purdy last night upset against Minnesota, Minnesota's defense has been so bad all year, and Purdy, 12 points, throws those picks at the end of the game. He left Addison on the bench. That could have honestly been the difference. I mean, Tyler Lockett, Addison could have been really close. He had a couple guys on bye, but didn't matter. Pat takes the dub, gets a big victory, moves to 4-3. Tim falls to 3-4. Next game, Denny versus Llama. Huge game, huge standing implications. And look at Denny Two Shoes taking down Ryan in a monster upset, if I have to say. He needed the dub, and all of a sudden, Denny's right there. 3-4. He's won 3 out of the last 4 weeks after starting the season 0-3. And here we are. I mean, Ryan's team, as I was mentioning last week, comes in healthy. He has Saquon, he has Jonathan Taylor back, he has Eckler back, he has his first 3-round picks. We decided not to start Jonathan Taylor. He decided to start Swift. Could have been the right call because he didn't know if Taylor was going to. Taylor ends up scoring 20, Swift scoring 9. That really wouldn't have made the difference because Denny beat him by 30. And the big thing is Denny got Lamar back. I mean, Lamar was rolling. This was a typical Lamar game, old school Lamar game, 33 points. And then all the rest of the stuff, I mean, Denny started Jackson Smith-Njigba, got his first touchdown of the year. So great karma there. Kenneth Walker had over 100 total yards. They are just pounding the rock. I mean, I watched a lot of that Seattle game was on. He got like 2 yards of carry, but still a lot of carries. Yards are yards. Najee got into the end zone for once. Cleveland D got him 16 points with the TD and 4 sacks. So Denny got a lot of points from unheralded receivers and other players. But the big thing was Lamar got him off to a great start and rolled to about 149 points. Ryan on the other end, I mean, he's still starting Russell Wilson. This week he started Kenny Pickett. They didn't do awful, 13 and 15 points, but you don't want those 2 guys as your starting quarterbacks. Sam Laporta's kind of slowly coming back down to earth. But Eckler was the big thing. Eckler's going against the Chiefs. He always eats up the Chiefs. And as I mentioned before about that Chiefs D, shut him down, held him to 5 points. So shut Eckler down. Ayuk didn't do anything on Monday Night Football. DeAndre Swift didn't do much. He got about 9, but Gabe Davis, 1 point. So Ryan's team just kind of took a dump this week. It happens. He falls to 3-4, unfortunately. I'm sure Ryan's team going forward, he's healthy again. He's going to be a strong force going forward. And I know the week after next he plays Josh, who has 9 players on bye. So Ryan at least can count a victory that week. He needs to try to get back in the W column this week. Denny takes the dub, 149-116. And our last but not least game, actually our last and our least game, the Turd Bowl. Barreto versus Cal. This one lived up to the hype of Turd Bowl. Guys, neither team really wanted to win this game. Cal was awful, 111. Justin ended up getting some points a little bit later from his guys, but he scored 134, which is not bad. But yeah, it takes down Cal. I mean, Cal, He got -1 from Deshaun Watson. He got 0 from Keontae Ingram. I mean, you can't get -2 points from your quarterback and your running back. You're going to lose. Mahomes finally gave him that vintage Mahomes, 34 points almost. He got 20 from Mark Andrews. I mean, you get 34 from your quarterback and 20 from your tight end, you're probably going to win your fantasy matchup. No, not for Cal. The rest of his team was just so awful this week. He needs to try to get back in the win column because he's falling to 2-5. He's now in last place, and I think he has the least points in the league. So Cal is literally the worst of the worst of the worst. So looking over at Justin's team, Justin's 3-4. He's looking pretty good. I mean, he still has Josh Allen at the high ceiling. Jacoby Myers is looking like maybe the best, one of the best pickups in the league so far, behind maybe Puka and stuff like that. But I mean, the guy is basically what Davante Adams was supposed to be for the Raiders. He gets about 80 yards and a touchdown every single week. So great pickup with Myers right there for Justin. And Sutton. Sutton is what Judy was supposed to be for Denver. Sutton is Russell Wilson's main target. He feeds him the ball every time. So Justin's wide receivers are sneakily just steadies. And, you know, he made that trade with Pat. He got Dobbs. He got Dotson. Dotson's been a ghost, non-existent. He can't start him. But Dobbs, I mean, he had a touchdown this week. He should have had 2 if he would have held on to that one ball. He almost had a touchdown last week, so he got him 10 points. But Justin's team, a lot of medium points, you know, 12, 14, 15 points. It got him the dub. He played Cal this week. 134 points isn't going to be enough to get you wins most week, but that doesn't matter because it's fantasy. And he played the worst team in the league this week, and he took the victory. He is now 3-4. Real quick, we're going to look at the standings. We are having a crazy, crazy close year. Jace and Josh both sit in the top 2 spots at 5-2, followed by Cass and Pat at 4-3. Pat has done an incredible job. I just want to give him a shout out. 3 wins in a row. He loses Chubb earlier in the year. He was sitting close to last place at 1-3. Now 4-3. He made a trade with Justin. Aaron Jones is going to be good for him going forward. To shout out to Pat. Cass has also won 2 in a row, including a big victory last week against Chase. So both those teams are rolling really good. Tim, Matt, Ryan, Justin, Denny, all 3-4. Crazy close. Points are going to be king this year. So even if you're losing, as long as you're scoring points, take Tim this week. He lost to Pat, unfortunately, but he scored a good amount of points. That's going to help him going forward. You know, Tim has the most points of the 3-4 teams. So I don't know how the standings are going to end. Everyone keeps beating other people. There's upsets that are happening every single week. So close. And then in last place, as I mentioned before, Cal. He actually has the second least points in the league. So I'm sorry about that, Cal. You're a little bit ahead of Denny, but 2-5 for Cal, and he is on a 4-game losing streak. Cal started out 2-1, was looking really good, and he's lost 4 in a row. So Cal's not looking too good. And real quick, we're going to look at our matchups for next week. Matchup of the week, our second place team versus our third place team, Josh versus Cass. We got a big one, 5-2 versus 4-3. This is a monster game. Cass gets a lot of guys back on bye. He has really, really good matchups. Josh's team still missing Justin Jefferson. He really, really needs him back. His Javonte Williams is playing the Chiefs, which I remember. Both teams have good matchups per se. Goff and the Lions going against the Raiders. Raiders defense is really bad, so that helps. Josh's team, Cass on the other hand, has a lot of great matchups against really bad defenses. I think in this one, I'm going to give the edge to Cass. I think Herbert has a monster game against the Bears. They have to win next week or they are done. And the Bears defense is pretty putrid. Cass's second quarterback has been his weak spot, and they play against Minnesota, Minnesota's defense has been awful. McCaffrey's going to go off for him. We know it is. CeeDee Lamb going to go against the Rams. Rams defense isn't the best. So I think Cass finally gets a big game from Lamb. He's been kind of so-so the last few games. I think Herbert gives him a vintage Herbert game. I think Cass edges it out. We'll see. We're not going to know till Monday night. I mean, Josh has he has 4 studs: Goff, Davante Adams, Gibbs, and Amon-Ra, all going in that Monday night game. So Cass is going to need to be up by 100 points going into Monday Night Football to have a chance, and I think he's going to be up by about 120. So Cass is my prediction in that game. Next game, next week, we're going to go with Tim versus Denny. 3-4 versus 3-4. Denny's doing well. Tim's team's really strong. I like this game a lot. Look at the projections, 132 to 131. Insanely close. Tua and Purdy both had off games. Lamar had great games. Baker plays on Thursday Night Football against the Bills. I think Baker's going to take a dump this week. I just have a feeling the Bills are got to be pissed. They've lost 2 in a row. Their defense is going to try to make a statement. And Thursday Night Football is really wonky. It's usually really low scoring. On the flip side, I think Tim's guys, I mean, Purdy's lost 2 in a row. Dolphins just got smoked. They're going to be pissed. They're playing against New England, who's the worst. I think Tim's quarterbacks each do really, really well, and I think that's going to be the difference. Both teams are actually really close. Tim does get back some guys off the bench. Ramondre is coming in, and more importantly, Breece Hall, who I think is a stud, is going forward. Breece Hall is going to replace Zach Moss more than likely in his lineup. So I'm going to give the edge to Tim this week. I think he moves to 4-4, then he falls to 3-5, but that's going to be a very fun game. Next, we're going to go with Barreto versus Jace, first place team. Barreto needs this victory big time. He's climbing really, really close to those playoff spots. Jace at 5-2. He's got Hurts. Eagles lost this week. He's going to come back with a vengeance. Dak's going to come back for Jace. Kamara's catching him. I mean, Jace's team's really good. Ford is hurt now, though, so he's got Ford hurt. He's got Achane hurt. He's going to have to find someone to fill in that spot. That's going to. Olave got arrested this week, so he might be suspended for this game. We'll see what happens there. That would really hurt Jace. On the flip side, Justin has Josh Allen. We know I just mentioned the Thursday night game. We'll see. I said Tampa Bay is going to do really bad. Buffalo's got to be pissed. They have to get a win. It's in Buffalo, so Josh Allen should have a good game. I mean, he has a good game every week, so that's not really been the issue. Burrow's going against the Niners D. That could hurt Justin, but Niners D just gave up 360 yards to Kirk Cousins, so they are definitely not the same situation. I'm going with the upset this week. I didn't think I was going to say that when I first started looking at this matchup, but I'm going to go with the upset. And I think that Pacheco has a big game against Denver, and I think Mostert has a big game against New England. And Sutton's not going to do much against the Chiefs, knock on wood. But I think those two running backs are going to be a monster for Justin. We'll see if he can get something random from some of his other guys. But I go with the upset. I think Justin takes down Jace. Next one we're going to go with is Cal versus Pat. Cal, turd man. He's actually projected to win this game, which is crazy. His team's awful, though. He's got to find a situation for Deshaun Watson. He's putting his ass on the bench. I would do the same thing. Unfortunately, the guy he's putting in is Bryce Young. But Bryce Young's playing Houston. Houston's defense is not the best, so Cal gets a good shot. Mahomes seems to be rolling again. He's playing in Denver. He loves playing in Denver, owning the crowd there. So I think Mahomes keeps it rolling as well. We'll see if Rashard White can get it rolling on Thursday Night Football in that Bills game. Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard has to be good. Like, he has to score Cal 20-plus points for him to win every single week. He's kind of been mediocre. Some games he does okay, but he's not giving Cal what he wanted when he took him with that second-round draft pick. So we'll see if Cal can get the dub this week. Jalen Waddle's back is something to keep an eye on. He left the game for a little bit this past week. And that's another one. Jalen Waddle and Tony Pollard, they got to get back to their pre-draft selves. If that happens, Cal has a chance on the with Patty over here. He's rolling right now. 3 wins in a row. Trevor Lawrence plays Pittsburgh, though, which is rough. And Geno Smith plays Cleveland, which is rough. Those two defenses are no joke and could limit his quarterback ceiling. But like I said, Tyreek Hill's a monster. He's going against New England. He's going to have 25 to 30 points. ETN, though, going against that Pittsburgh D. Christian Kirk going against that Pittsburgh D. So is that going to affect Jacksonville? I mean, Pat's team is loaded with Jags, and if the Jags don't do well, then Pat's team's going to have a trouble. And once again, going with the upset. I think that matchup's going to really hurt Pat. I think the Steelers, it's in Pittsburgh. They seem to win the same way every single week. I mean, they keep the score low, and then they throw a deep ball to Pickens, and they get a field goal or a touchdown to win it at the end. So I think the defense is going to give Lawrence some trouble. I think they're going to hold ETN. I think they're going to hold Christian Kirk in check. And I think Cal gets a big game from Mahomes and a decent game from Bryce Young. And Mark Andrews is the difference here. So I'm going to go Cal with the upset victory over Pat this week. A couple upsets, and then we're going to go with our last but not least game, Learning Computer versus Orion, the llama, then the drama. Both guys need a victory really bad. 3-4 versus 3-4. Ryan is going to be totally healthy. I don't know if he's going to keep Swift in. He's probably going to put Jonathan Taylor in. He's going to have all three of his first round picks in for the first time all year. It's only going to be week 8, but he's finally getting them back. The big question with Ryan is his quarterbacks: Russell Wilson, Kenny Pickett. As I mentioned before that Jacksonville Pittsburgh game, I think it's a low scoring game. And as I mentioned before again with the Chiefs, Russell Wilson. I don't like playing against the Chiefs. So Ryan has a big hill to climb with his quarterbacks. Matt, on the other hand, Sam Howell, Gardner Minshew. I mean, Matt lost Anthony Richardson. He has Daniel Jones hurt. Gardner Minshew. So he has 4 quarterbacks on his roster right now, and none of them are very good. Keenan Allen, though, is really good. Cooper Kupp's really good. Puka Nacua is really good. If David Montgomery comes back, that could be the difference. I think they might sit him one more week just to make sure he's good, but maybe they'll bring him back. Mike Evans is really good. He's got to sit Christian Watson. I think Christian Watson had a bad knee injury. I doubt he plays this week. This is a really, really close game. I am actually going to go with Ryan in this one. I think his 3 studs are literally the difference in this game. I think they all perform. I think Barkley does well. I think Eckler does well. And I think Jonathan Taylor does well. I think both quarterbacks are both poop faces. They're both going to do bad. I think Matt's wide receivers are so freaking good. But the Rams are going up against Dallas' D. Dallas' D is really good. I mean, they're really, really good. They get after the quarterback. And Matthew Stafford is not the most mobile guy. So Kupp and Nacua will get theirs, but there's a difference if they're getting 12 or 13 compared to 20s. And I think Dallas's D can hold them somewhat in check. We'll see if Bijan plays, but even if Bijan does play, Tennessee has a top 5 run D, and I think Ryan's running backs are the difference in that one. So I'm going to go with Ryan in that matchup, guys. That's going to be the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you. Let's go NBA, King James.